Getting better operations visibility from your applications is the topic of my conversation today with Constantine Limberakis. He is Vice President of Product Marketing with PartnerLink. Hello, Constantine.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for joining me. So what do you see as the fundamental challenge in trying to integrate multiple enterprise systems?
I think it's kind of in the core of the question, right? And you have a history of organizations that go through the process of selecting a variety of solutions, whether they're ERP solutions or TMS or warehouse management. There's a history that happens over time. And when you're doing that, trying to make sure that those systems are properly communicating and giving you the insights into your supply chain is a constant challenge. Mm-hmm. And so the ability to understand what those data models look like and trying to create some kind of uniform message or understanding, if a nomenclature, so to speak, of what data is there, that'll help you better understand what's going on within your operations.
Well, each of those applications is generating data, is that correct?
Yes.
I mean, data is feeding into them, data is coming out of them.
Mm.
And yet you want to see it all in one big, I don't know, one big screen or one big ball of
I guess
whatever.
A big model, right? A data model.
Yeah.
And one of the things, the big challenges, whether you're in supply chain or aspects of supply chain like procurement, one of the big challenges is creating some kind of normalization around that data, mm-hmm. right? And understanding how one table in one system might be a different format or a different perspective, trying to create some normalization around that information, and then being able to use that information for your business partners that you're doing. So whether you're a supplier or whether you're a buyer or an intermediary, say in a logistics process, having that canonical process or model helps you make sure that you're sending that right information and knowing exactly what's the format of the purchase order, what's the format of the invoice, what's the format of that advanced shipping notice, making sure that those are there so that then you can also use that data later on to build intelligence.
So you're talking about extracting visibility from these different systems. What are the challenges in doing that? It can't be as easy as you're making it out to be.
Yes. Yeah. I think one of the challenges is just the pace or the rapidity of business, right? The pulse of business is not going to stop because you've acquired a new company, mm-hmm. or you've divested a company, or you've gone to a new geography and they have multiple enterprise systems over there. So somebody might be using SAP over here, somebody might be using Oracle, and someone might be using a warehouse management or TMS system, and they all have to kind of communicate. Mm-hmm. Well, how are you going to ensure that those systems are communicating with each other at the pace of business, particularly when you're trying to on-ramp them and then be able to make sure that that data is integrating so that you can flow through and send that information out to your business partners because you want to work with them.
If you are a global supply chain, as most supply chains are, you're in some cases, even one application, like let's say Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, you could have multiple instances of that alone.
Exactly.
Let alone all these different systems that are maybe or maybe not playing nice with each other.
Yes, exactly. And one of the other big challenges that we find is even when someone says, like, a Kearney or an Accenture comes in and says, we're going to normalize and we're going to say, we're going to go to one platform. We're going to go to a Microsoft Dynamics or we're going to go to an SAP. Well, guess what? That takes years often to deploy and on-ramp. And while you're doing that, you might still have these legacy old systems, or what we sometimes call monolithic systems that are still there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's as simple as a database or some warehouse management system, or you might even have just spreadsheets or someone that's a new onboarded business division. Mm-hmm. The challenge is that takes time. And while you're trying to get the normalize onto one platform, you still got to connect your business to all those different back-end systems and still communicate with your business.
Oh, wait, I heard you use the word spreadsheets. This is a family video. We can't use words like that. And yet all that is still there. I mean, you got manual, you got automated and the like. Okay, in the face of all that, you have all these mergers and acquisitions, all these companies coming together and with their multiple systems and constant change. How the heck do you oversee that?
Yeah. Well, the key here, again, it goes back to having a platform that can help you normalize that process. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to rip and replace everything because you say, well, that data, you don't want to use that system anymore. It's too old. Sometimes it's just a convenience of saying, well, we'll just keep using that because it's going to cost us too much to tear it out. Mm-hmm. So what we'll do as part of PartnerLink is help make sure that those systems are communicating, whether it's the front end with your business partners or the back end process, making sure information's properly flowing and making sure you have that normalized data so that you know exactly the information that's flowing through there. So that if you ever wanted to go back and take a look at that data and understand, are there certain patterns in our supply chain that we should be observing that can help us do some better planning, whether it's operational or into more of a predictive sense. We're using that information that's already inherent within our systems.
Talk about pattern recognition. I hear kind of in the background noise about AI, artificial intelligence. So
Yes.
you didn't use that phrase. I take
Yes.
that is an essential aspect of this whole
Yes,
picture.
absolutely. So our framework is that in order to start doing business is you need to have the right connectivity within your backend systems, but also with your business partners.
Right.
So whether you're using APIs or EDI, which is another area that we help organizations with, you got to make sure that data is flowing. And once that data is flowing, you're understanding certain business patterns that are happening. And to understand those patterns, you have to apply some kind of algorithm, machine learning to that data, and then maybe even apply external data sets to say, well, let's see if we combine weather patterns with intermodal transportation from one point to the other over a certain period of time. Let's see what kind of patterns arrive from that. And then use our platform to help apply that AI to look at that prediction. So it goes from the core basics of understanding transactions and what's in your supply chain to then understanding what can we do to do better. But if you don't have that foundation, you're not going to be able to have the good data to have good prediction.
But the future is bright, do you think, in terms of companies being able to manage that data flow across systems in a coherent way? Draw on it for actual visibility.
Yeah, I think it's important that you know not only to have the good data, but then also know the right data to apply to those models to better understand how to create that prediction. And I think it's a combination of the art and the science. So the data scientists will help make sure we have the right data, but being able to have the intuition and understanding what model should we be using, how should we be better able to predict what's happening due to disruptions and due to changes in demand and supply. Those kinds of things still require that human element, but having those good data sets, like we all know, you don't have good data in AI, AI is not going to tell you the right thing.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Constantine, for your insights into this really challenging situation of visibility and integration of systems. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I've been speaking with Constantine Limberakis of PartnerLink. Thank you very much for watching.